So today we are going to start the lymphatic system and immunity. In this we have this syllabus. Lymph, we will talk about what is lymph vessels, lymphatic tissue, lymph nodes, nodules, spleen, thymus. And other topic is immunity. So two topics are there. One is about the lymphatic system and another one is immunity. So both are related to each other. So that's the reason here two chapters are given in one chapter. Okay, and we have different types of uh, boxes also: Hodgkin's disease, AIDS, diagnostic tests, vaccines, allergies, vaccine that have changed our lives. So it will discuss in this class. So basically here some example is given, so we'll discuss that example and we will begin the lecture from here on self. So basically in our body two systems are very important rather than other systems, because their existence only will help us to work other body organs or body organs. Other body organs means other than this or this system. So basically one is circulatory system, in that we have blood, heart, vessels. And second is lymphatic system, lymphatic and immunity system. So basically these two systems are the core of our body, because we need every organ need blood to work, first thing, and every organ need protection from invaders or other harmful substances. Okay, so from to protect from harmful substances we need immunity, we need protection system, we need defense system to protect ourselves. Okay, so already you completed circulatory system, in that we discussed very important things. Okay, how, what are the components of the blood, what are the things are available in the blood, how they function, how they prepared, okay, etc., etc. And talked about heart, function of the heart, okay, and related things. And we also talked about vascular system, capillaries, arteries, arterioles, aorta, okay, veins, venules, capillaries, venule capillaries, and about BP, how the BP is maintained throughout the day, and whenever necessary it will decrease, whenever necessary it will increase. So all those things we discussed in detail. So second chapter is remain, that is lymphatic system, how the lymphatic system, how the immunity system protect the body from pathogens, bacteria, virus, etc., etc. So nowadays the viral infection, bacteria, everything is common. So why this happened? Because our immunity is disturbed, our immunity is weak, so easily pathogen can enter our body. So one protection system is to stop the pathogen by entering in the body. First type of mechanism is there. Second mechanism is that after entry, okay, our body will fight against that pathogen and kill the bad pathogen. This is the second type of defense mechanism. First line of defense mechanism, the pathogen doesn't have entry here, no entry in the body. Second is if he enters, if the pathogen enters, second mechanism, the second defense mechanism will fight with that pathogen, so the pathogen is killed by our defense mechanism. So basically immunity all can discussed in this parts. Okay, in this class. First is one example is given here. We'll go through with this example and we will start what is lymph. Okay, each child falls and scrapes her knee. Is this likely to be a life-threatening injury? Probably not, even though the breaks in the skin have permitted the entry of thousands or even millions of bacteria. Those bacteria, however, will be quickly destroyed by the cells and organs by the lymphatic system. Although the lymphatic system may be considered part of circulatory system, we will consider it separately because its functions are so different from those of the heart and blood vessels. Keep in mind, however, that all of these functions are interdependent. The lymphatic system is responsible for returning tissue fluid to the blood and protecting the body against foreign material. The parts of the lymphatic system are lymph vessels, lymphatic tissues, lymph nodes, spleen, thymus gland. So basically, here one example is given. If a child fell down, what will happen? A scar came to her knee, or her knee, scrap is there, her knee, on his knee. Okay, so basically, what will happen? It will give the path to enter the pathogen in the body. Okay, so first mechanism, defense mechanism is our own skin, integumentary system. We already studied, we have three layers: dermis, epidermis. All those layers will protect the body by entering. Okay, there are small pores. If they enter, what will happen? We have sweat, of with sweat glands. Sweat glands will what will do? They will release the bacteria into the external environment. So what will happen here after the falling down? The scarp is there. So entry of pathogen will happen. So after entry of pathogen, how our body reacts? This is the first question. So there's the reason we have lymphatic system, immunity system, which will protect after entering of pathogens, millions of pathogens, okay, billions of pathogens may be enter through that route. So we have system. The system will protect us. In that we have lymph. First is lymph. What is lymph? Everything we will discuss. What is first is lymph. Okay, like in that blood in the circulatory system, we have first is blood, like here's lymph, and we have lymphatic vessels also. Their vascular system is there, and lymphatic tissue is there. Okay, lymph vessels, lymphatic tissues. In the lymphatic tissues, you have lymph nodes, nodules, spleen, and thymus gland. So lymph made up of lymph tissues, that is lymph nodes, spleen, nodule, and thymus gland. So this is the system, whole lymphatic system: lymph, lymph vessels, and lymph tissues. Lymph tissues, what are the lymph tissues? We have spleen, thymus, and nodes and nodules. Okay, all those things we will discuss one by one. First, we will discuss about lymph. So everything will be clear gradually. Okay, so in if you here given lymph, we cannot able to understand everything about lymph here. Gradually, whenever we are completing this topics, we will easily complete all the information about lymphatic system. Okay, understood? So here we have lymph. Lymph is the name for tissue fluid. So what is lymph is a tissue fluid. So we know that vascular system vessels are bringing arteries are bringing the blood to the tissue. From the vessels it will entering into the capillaries to the all cells. So we have blood pressure there, maintenance of the blood pressure is 30 to 35 mmHg. Okay, so after that blood is entering, after that some sort of liquid is remained there, even though the venous rhythm is going on, even though some sort of liquid is remained. So we call as tissue fluid. We have interstitial fluid, okay, and other fluids although there we will discuss here. Filtration in capillaries create tissue fluid from blood plasma, most of which reaches almostly to the blood in the capillaries by osmosis. Some tissue fluid, however, remains in interstitial space and must be returned to the blood by way of lymphatic vessels. So here, some tissue is remained in the some fluid is remained, even though we have veins taking away the blood from the tissue. Okay, some sort of tissue fluid is remain. So what we need another system to take that fluid from that area to the blood vessels. So third system is lymphatic system. Okay, so here the return is without. So if we can't return this fluid, how will what will happen? Some amount of tissue fluid is remain. After 1 minute, the tissue fluid increases. What will happen? We have the area will fill with tissue fluid. Okay, the area will fluid with tissue fluid. So what will happen? Blood volume decreases because all the tissue fluid is remains here only. If the blood volume is decreases, what will happen? Blood pressure decreases. So there's the reason here we need a return. We need to return the tissue fluid from the tissue area to the circulatory system. Here we have the one example, one diagram is there that this is how the lymphatic system is attached to every part of the body. Okay, here, here, everything. Okay. Next, we have lymphatic vessels. So this fluid is remained here. If the tissue is here, so we have fluid here, some fluid here, some fluid here. So we need vessels. We need pipelines to take that fluid and will give return to the blood. Okay, give return to the blood. So how? What is lymph vessels? We will discuss here. So the system of lymph vessels began as dead-end lymph capillaries found in most tissue spaces. Lymph capillaries. So starting with lymph capillaries. So there is no direct vessel to the tissue fluid. So we have different capillaries. Capillaries. So these are the capillaries, small capillaries, which is attached to the cell. Okay. Found it more tissue. Lymph capillaries are very permeable and collect tissue fluids and proteins. So what they collect? Tissue fluid and proteins. Lactates are specialized lymph capillaries in the villi of the small intestine. They absorb the fat-soluble end products of digestion, such as fatty acids and vitamins A, D, E, and K. So one example is given here. So we have lactates. So where it present in small intestine. It present in small intestine in the villi, in the lymph capillaries. So we have lymph capillaries, villi. Now this is if the if it- this is the So this is if it is the small intestine, the floating hair like floating is villi. Like we have comb, na comb in front of comb we have what have to rub the head, to scratch anything or do the combing. So what we have some sort of edges. So these edges are known as villi. Okay, what they do? They absorb. What they absorb? Fat soluble. Whatever fat which is easily soluble, that is absorbed, and other digestive products like fatty acids, vitamin A, D, E, K. So these are all are water soluble vitamins. Okay, easily they absorb with the help of lactase. Okay, next, lymph capillaries. You need to form large lymph vessels. So here lymph capillary is there. So this is the lymph vessel whose structure is very much like that of veins. There is no pump for lymph as the heart is the pump for blood. But the lymph is kept moving within lymph vessel by the same mechanism that promotes venous return. So here the lymph capillaries are filled with lymph. So lymph is reached to the large lymphatic vessels. Then they will travel. They doesn't have uh, any organ which will return the lymph tissue or fluid tissue from that area to the blood. They travel by themselves only. and other helpers with the other helpers, like we have the smooth muscle layer of the large lymph vessel constricts, and the one-way valves, just like those of veins, prevent black flow of lymph. Lymph vessels in the extremities, especially the legs, are compressed by the skeletal muscle that supported them. This is skeletal muscle pump. The respiratory pump alternately expands and compresses the lymph vessels in the chest cavity and keeps the lymphs moving. So here, own lymphatic vessels have smooth vessels, smooth muscles, which will constrict, and it will go forward. Okay, one thing. Second thing is in the lymph vessels also, they are the one-way valves to restricted the returning of lymph. Like in the veins, we have what we have. This is the vessels. This is the one way. So in that direction only the lymph will go. It will cannot come backward because what will happen? The valve is closed. If you want to come, the valve will not permit to return. Okay, and we have respiratory muscles. We have skeletal muscles. Whenever we walk, we raise hands. What will happen? Tissue fluid will go forward. So here one thing I have to remember you that when the patient sit long duration, what will happen? The amount of tissue fluid will settle down. Why? Because the skeletal muscles which are present in the leg are in relaxed position, and lymphatic vessels have that much not energy to bring back the fluid from lower layer to upper level because the gravitational force. So they need help of skeletal muscles of legs. Okay, so there's the reason advisable for the most of the patient. Please walk for every half an hour. You have to get up and walk for over 2 rounds, or every 1 hour, minimum 1 hour. So, so here skeletal muscles and respiratory muscles will help. So from that area, so where the lymph is going, okay, so lymph is going to the blood, back to the blood. The lymph vessels from the lower body unite in front of lumbar vertebrae to form a vessel called cisternae chyli, okay, which continues upward in the front of backbone as the thoracic duct. Lymph vessels from the upper left quadrant of the body join the thoracic duct, which empties lymph into the left subclavian vein. Lymph vessels from the right quadrant of the body unite to form left lymphatic duct, which empties lymph into the right subclavian vein. Flaps in the both clavicle veins permit the entry of lymph, but prevent blood from flowing into the lymph vessels. So here the example is given. You can see that from the lower level, it is here we have lumbar veins here. So from that lower level, lower extremities, blood lymph is reaching here, and after that it will give to the veins, and lymph will reach to the veins, and it will go through the veins. And we have right upper quadrant, left upper quadrant. Okay, they also reaching subclavicle art vein. Okay, this is the direction, and subclavicle vein right and left. So they can reach easily here veins with the help of this lymphatic vessel. You can see that this is the valve, this is the lymph nodes, okay, and lymphatic vessel. This is a pathway. Okay, so this is how lymphatic vessels help. Next, lymphatic tissue. Lymphatic tissue consists mainly of lymphocytes in a mesh-like framework of connective tissue. Most lymphatic lymphocytes are produced from stem cell in the red bone marrow. They migrate to the lymph nodes and nodules, to the spleen and the thymus. These structured lymphocytes become activated and proliferate in response to infection. The thymus has stem cells that produce a significant portion of T lymphocytes. So basically here one important thing you have to remember that this lymphatic nodules have lymphatic tissues. Lymphatic tissues. What will they do? They will have storage of lymphocytes. From red bone marrow, the lymphocyte will travel and it will settle down in the lymph nodes where they settle. They settle in lymph nodes. From that area, if the infection enters, the lymph nodes, or sorry, the lymphocytes will travel and it will attack on the back. First thing. Second thing is that in the thymus, the thymus is here. We will see the location when thymus will. You can see here thymus. Spleen is here. Mm, this area is have thymus. Okay, small gland. Okay, so we have thymus. Thymus will have T lymphocytes. Okay, it will produce T lymphocytes. Means they have lymphocytes. Lymphocytes will convert into T lymphocytes. Why they convert? How they convert? We will try. We will talk in later class. Okay. Now we will talk about lymph nodes. Step by step, we are understanding. So we know about lymphatic tissues, lymph vessels, and lymph. Now we will talk about lymph nodes. What's are lymph nodes and nodules? Lymph nodes and nodules are the mass of lymphatic tissue. So means this is the lymph in the lymph. Yeah, this is the granule-like substance. Okay, it is present in the lymph nodes. Nodes and nodules differ from respect to size and location. So why we call nodes? Why we will call nodules? Here, nodes are usually larger. Nodes are larger. Nodules are smaller. Okay, 10 to 20 in length and are encapsulated. Nodules range from function fraction of millimeter to several millimeters in length and do not have capules. Nodules have doesn't have capules and small nodes are having capsule and having large size. Okay, this is the reason. Lymph nodes are found in groups. So where lymph nodes is present, there is groups of lymph nodes are there. So they are present in the lymphway path vessels. So if you see that, this is the pathway. In the pathway, we have lymph nodes. This is the lymph nodes. This is the lymph nodes. This is the lymph nodes. They are grouped to the subclavian veins. Lymph enters a node through several different lymph vessels and levels leaves through one or two different vessels. A lymph passes through a lymph nodes. Bacteria and other foreign material are phagocytes by fixed macrophages. Okay, so why we have lymph nodes? The lymph will pass through that area. Okay, they will everything will be diagnosed there. So is there any pathogen is there any bacteria is there? Okay, if there is bacteria pathogen they will collect. If not, it will leave the lymph fluid will leave from that area. Okay, so that's the reason we have lymph nodes. So that's first defense mechanism, that is macrophages. If they found any bacteria, the macrophages will collect the bacteria and it will kill. Plasma cells develop from lymphocytes exposed to pathogen in the lymph and produce antibodies. So here, second cell is if the microsis. If the macrophages will eat, if the pathogen destructed, no issues. If the pathogen is not destructed, if remains live, so what will happen? We have lymphocytes. Lymphocytes order plasma cells. Please see that microbacteria or bacteria. According to that bacteria, you have to make the defense system. You have to make the one fighter to fight with that antibodies and antibiotic to fight with bacteria. So we will call antibiotic antibodies. Antibiotic against bacteria, antibodies against pathogen. This antibody will eventually reach the blood and circulate the body. So after that, what will happen? It will reach the blood and it will circulate all over the body. Okay, understood. So this is you have to understand very clear. There are many groups of lymph nodes along all the lymph vessels throughout the body, but three paired groups deserve mention because of the strategic location. So where there are lymph nodes, multiple lymph nodes are present in the body. Okay, so I have to remember different cervical in the cervical area. Okay, in the cervical area, in the axillary area, inguinal area. Okay, notice that these are the junctions of the head and extremities with the trunk of the body. Breaks in the skin with entry of pathogens are much more likely to occur in the arms or legs or head rather than in the trunk. These pathogens get in the lymph, they will be destroyed by the lymph node before they get into the trunk. Before the lymph is returned to the blood in the subclavian veins. So basically, you have cervical. Here we have number of nodes are there. You can see that. You can feel that in the axillary area also. Okay, in the gonoid region, inguinal region also, we have number of nodes, lymph nodes, because they are the most sensitive area. With that area, the bacteria pathogen will enter easily. So with after entry, the nodes will attack on that particular pathogen and kill it with before entry into the circulatory system. This is the reason. You may familiar with the expression swallowing glands, as when a child has strep throat, inflammation of the pharynx caused by streptococcus bacteria. These glands are the cervical lymph nodes that have enlarged as their macrophages attempt to destroy the bacteria in the lymph from the pharynx. So, example, we have tonsils here. In that, we have lymph nodes are there. Okay, to restrict the entry of pathogen through the mouth. Okay, lymph nodules. Here now we'll discuss about lymph nodes. Lymph nodes we discussed. Now we have lymph nodules. Lymph nodules are small masses of lymphatic tissue found just beneath the epithelium of mucous membrane. Basically, it is below the mucous membrane. Whatever we have here, mucus in the mouth, whatever where is the mucus is there, we will have lymph nodes in the lungs. Okay, the body system lined with mucous membrane are those that have opening into the environment. Respiratory system, like respiratory system, digestive system, urinary system, reproductive system, so all that have mucous membrane. In that mucous membrane, below that we have lymph nodules. So because we have entry, anything will enter through the mouth, anything will enter into the urinary system or reproductive system. So there's the reason we have lymph nodes there to protect. Even the bacteria enters, we have to kill the bacteria. Okay, some lymph nodes have specific names. So in that, some lymph nodules have specific name, like Peyer's patches in the small intestines and tonsils, palatal tonsils. Okay, lingual tonsils, tonsils. Pharynx is common pathogen of food and air for pathogen. Okay, basically, here in the throat region, for the digestive system, for respiratory system, we have tonsils. All the tonsils, palatal tonsils, different types of tonsils are there, and we have another thing that is Peyer's patches in the small intestine. There also we have uh, lymph nodules. Okay, one condition is called tonsillectomy. Most of the people or small children have to be done that these tonsils will remove. Okay, because of the it will inflame and it will swallow. Infection will happen. So that's the reason tonsils are removed from the body. But it will affect the throat. One case of tonsillitis, severe chronic tonsillitis. Even I sent the video of the boy. Okay, he have tonsils from past 2 to 3 years. Okay, so every surgeon advised to remove the tonsils. So when came to my clinic, bring by his uh, mother and dad. So advised to doesn't remove the tonsils. It will affect throughout the life to him, because he will have cold, allergy, everything. hmm, Everything, throat pain, everything will happen in the coming days. So they listened my uh, and they got treated by me myself. Okay, so with the help of electrohomeopathy and some acupuncture treatment will help him relieve him. It I think it will happen 10 months. From 10 months past 10 months, he doesn't have cough, he doesn't have swallowing glands. Okay, so likewise we can treat the patient. Okay, to save the patient by doing surgery or tonsillectomy. Next is spleen and thymus are there. So we will discuss tomorrow from here onwards. If any doubts, you can ask me.